It was a quiet morning in Columbia, Illinois, until it wasn't. A family of 3 found strangled in their own beds. No forced entry, no signs of a break-in, just chilling silence, and a message spray-painted on the walls. You knew this was coming. The man at the center of it all, a husband, a father, a bodyguard to one of America's most famous preachers. But behind closed doors, Chris Coleman was hiding something sinister. This is the story of control, betrayal, and murder, wrapped in the image of a God-fearing, all-American family. And it begins with a phone call. Welcome to the Crime Documentary. May 5th, 2009. Detective Justin Barlow receives a phone call from Chris Coleman, who says he can't reach his wife, Sherry. He's at the gym, worried something might be wrong. Barlow heads to the Coleman home. What he finds will haunt him forever. Inside the house, 31-year-old Sherry Coleman is found dead in bed, a rosary clutched tightly in her hand. In nearby bedrooms, their 2 sons, 11-year-old Garrett and 9-year-old Gavin, are also found, strangled in their sleep. No signs of a struggle in the children's rooms. Red spray paint scars the walls with phrases like, "You have paid," "I am always watching," "punished." Even one of the boys' faces was defaced with paint. This wasn't a random act of violence. This was personal. To outsiders, the Colemans were a dream family. Chris, a former Marine and head of security for televangelist Joyce Meyer, lived a life steeped in discipline, faith, and respect. His parents, Ron and Connie Coleman, were pastors. Sherry was a devoted wife and mother. But behind the smiles, things were unraveling. Starting in late 2008, disturbing threats began to arrive. Emails demanding Joyce Meyer stop preaching or face deadly consequences. Chris was the recipient. Joyce Meyer and her son were also targeted. Then it got more personal. A note appeared in Chris's mailbox, threatening to kill his entire family while he was conveniently out of town. Sherry was terrified. The threats felt too specific, too real. Chris reported it to police. A security camera was installed on their mailbox. Patrols increased, but the camera caught nothing unusual, except for Chris playing with his kids outside. 12 hours later, they were all dead. What really happened that morning? Chris said he left at 5:30 a.m. to work out at Gold's gym. He texted and called Sherry multiple times, claiming concern. But the evidence didn't support his version. The crime scene showed Sherry had ligature marks and a black eye. She fought back. The boys had no such marks. They died in their sleep. The paint used for the threatening messages? Purchased by Chris, months earlier. Even more chilling, a text Sherry sent weeks before the murder read, "If something happens to me, Chris did it." Investigators reviewed Chris's gym route. He didn't take his usual path. He took a detour, one that conveniently passed near where crucial evidence would later be found. Then came Tara, a cocktail waitress from Florida, Sherry's former best friend. Not only was Chris having an affair, he was planning a future with Tara. Investigators found explicit photos, videos, and texts exchanged between the two, conversations about marriage, baby names, even Tara's ring size. Photos of Chris and Tara on a trip to Hawaii, where he was supposed to be working security for Joyce Meyer. The kicker? The affair started before the threatening emails ever began. Chris's father claimed Tara was just meeting a need Sherry wasn't fulfilling, but the police and the jury weren't buying it, especially after forensic experts determined Sherry and the boys were likely dead before Chris left for the gym. In the interrogation room, Chris's story started falling apart. He denied everything: the affair, the argument the night before, knowing anything about the emails. Detectives confronted him with evidence, photos, texts, timeline discrepancies. Chris remained stoic, detached. Even when told his wife and children were dead, he never asked how. Jurors later recalled how this cold reaction stuck with them. Chris was arrested on May 19, 2009, just 2 weeks after the murders, charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. The trial began in 2011, and just like his double life, the jury's doubts didn't last forever. Deliberations were tense. 4 jurors weren't convinced at first. Then, they found photos. Images of Chris and Tara, together in October 2008. But Chris had claimed the affair began in November, after the emails started. That lie shifted everything. On May 5, 2011, exactly 2 years after the murders, Chris Coleman was found guilty on all counts. To avoid the death penalty, he waived jury sentencing. Judge Milton Wharton gave him life without parole. He was later moved to a maximum security prison in Wisconsin for his own safety. In 2012, Sherry and her sons were reburied outside Chicago, near her family. Chris's parents fought to keep the original gravesite in Chester, but the court ruled a convicted murderer shouldn't control where his victims are buried. Chris still claims innocence. In interviews, he suggests someone else used his computer. He blames the court, the media, even the evidence. But the appeals have all failed. He's not getting out. He's not getting away with it. And in the end, the picture-perfect family was shattered by the man who built it. If you've watched this far, thank you. What do you think? Was justice truly served? Could someone like Chris Coleman ever be innocent? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Like and subscribe for more real crime stories. Turn on notifications because the next case might be even darker.